What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop Thursday NBA slate, and the regular crew is with you. Jay Money is money. You know the man. Go subscribe to NBA Talk with Jay, his YouTube page. He's on there daily giving out plays. I am your host, Sean Little. Subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page if you want to see this in video. We bring a lot of character to the show. It's better on video than audio. Go tap in with us weekly. I'm recording this live. Jay Money is recording this live from his Tommy John home studio. Let's jump right into it. You know how we get down. We get the play, we get the cap, we get you guys out of here. We also got a Tommy John big ballsy parlay we're going to give you. Probably just tie up our plays that we're going to give out right now. Add another leg, make it a little three-piece nug, and we'll see where it shakes out. You know us. We're not big parlay guys, but we got to put one together for the people. Jay Money is money. Give me your best bet for the Thursday NBA slate.
Man, we're going to the murky waters, man. Give me the Pelicans plus the 10.5 points.
We'll go with the Bulls. Team total over 112.5 versus the Boston Celtics. Big number getting floated over there. We'll talk about it. Jay Money is money. It's the first time our Buckets family is hearing from us from a tough NBA Cup. Mm-hmm. You had the future plus money, great number on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just had to win outright. They couldn't get it done. Absolutely fell apart in the third quarter. They gave up 2 triples, couple techs. The game was never in reach ever again in a flash. And Dame, I had under 22.5. All night long, 23.5 flashed before the game. He ends up scoring 23 on the nose. So I hope some people out there got the 23.5. Chris Middleton ends up getting scratched. That ended up hurting me a bit. Dame got a couple extra looks. Overall, we just miss it. I think the cap was still there. The evaluation was correct, I think, on both ends. Oklahoma City just didn't have it. Didn't have it from the field. And, Jay, I'll say this. That is the best defense I've seen the Milwaukee Bucks play since Drew Holiday left. If they're going to play defense like that, and Gary Trent Jr. is going to look like Bean Bryant from time to time, they might have a little something shaking over there. But we look forward. Let's get to the cap. The murky waters. You know what we say, Jay Money. Right. Sometimes you got to go on a limb. Yeah. That's where the fruit is. Yeah. Why are you going with the New Orleans Pelicans here with the points?
Yeah, I'm going out on a limb here for sure, man. I like these type of spots. I know people aren't going to want to tell this play. And I always say, if you don't like the play, like internally, don't bet it, because then if you don't happen to cash, then you're going to feel 10 times worse, especially when you're following someone else's play and you don't really like it. And then it loses. You're like, man, I knew that was that dumb play, but I'm going with Pelicans here, plus a 10.5. I think this is the sharp side. I think that they are able to keep this game close. Not a ton of numbers and things like that will back this up. But it is one thing. The Houston Rockets offensively, in my opinion, should not be laying double digits. I'm not going to say versus anyone, because the Rockets defense is actually really good, to be perfectly honest with you. But if you look at this team offensively, I'm not really sure what's going on in their last 5 games, but they've almost fell off a cliff. They have one of the worst offensive ratings in the NBA. They have the 25th ranked offensive rating in their last 5 games. Now, I know that the Pelicans aren't much better. They're sitting at the 27th ranked, but obviously they've had some tough luck as well in some of these games. They've played some really tough teams as well. You could also get the Rockets, who could be a little bit down on themselves after not being able to get things done in the Cup, because I know that they took that really serious as well. So the Pelicans, for whatever reason, have always kind of matched up well versus the Rockets as well. They're 7-3 straight up in their last 10 matchups versus the Rockets, 7-2-1 against the spread as well. So in this particular game, we're asking the Rockets not only to win, but to win in an absolute blowout. Now, I know that they could do it, but I will rock with a team like the Pelicans, who has a couple of good practices together. They're on the verge of where they probably should start tanking, but they're not quite there yet. And I feel like as long as they have guys, DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum out there, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, they'll have a chance in this one. Would really like to get Jordan Hawkins as well coming off the bench to just give them some more offense, give them some more ball handling. So as long as he's been out, I'm really hoping that he comes back. He's questionable in this game. I think this is a spot where the Pelicans might could possibly even shock the world and win this game outright. But I'll take the 10. If you're going to give me 10.5, I'll take the insurance. I'll take those 10.5 points in my back pocket. But mainly, like I say, the Rockets' offense has just not really been a fine oiled machine for them to be laying 10.5 points in this particular spot. So it's nasty. It's ugly. If you don't like it, you don't have to bet it. But I'm on the New Orleans Pelicans plus the 10.5 points in Houston.
Houston 1-4 ATS in their last 5. The Pelicans 3-2 ATS over their last 5. Jay, how much of this has to do with Houston coming off that Vegas trip, if any at all?
That's not a ton in the cap. I mean, obviously, they would have to stay a day after it for it to be, you know what I mean, like really,
Yeah.
really in the cap. But I mean, it's definitely not the best of spots, right? So they did. I mean, they already live in Houston, so I mean, if they want to get out and party, there's no problem with that, even where they live already. You know what I mean? But who knows? Maybe the coach let them. Hey, we have a few days off. They had 3 days in between games. Why not stay a day over in Houston? It's definitely a part of the. That could definitely be it as well. But I can't say it's not a part of my handicap on the game. But I mean, it's definitely a little cherry on top for sure. But I know offensively, I can't lay 10.5 with the Rockets. And I'm one last guy to believe that the Pelicans are still a little bit better than their record over there. So we'll see with this game right here.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray, since he's been back, has been efficient. I would like to see him get some more looks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the last 4 games for DeJounte. It's last 5 games, 58% from the floor, 53% from the floor. Then they go 30%, 42%, then 53%. But he's rebounding. I mean, he's pushing a triple-double. This month, he's averaging 17, 7, and 7 with a block and 2.5 steals. I don't understand why he's getting 15 looks in a game, in a high-paced game, the last time out against the Pacers. I would love for DeJounte to kind of he's one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
In a squad that has a lot of question marks, it just seems like he should take hold a little bit more than he has been. But he's been very efficient since he's came back. I would love to see him get some more looks.
What has his rebound been looking like lately, Sean? Because his rebound, this is just something that I thought of, obviously. So they'll have Tice that's out, which I don't really care because he hasn't been doing much on the Pelicans anyway. And they like to run small ball with Herb Jones at the 5 anyway. But I'd like to think that DeJounte Murray is very live to go over his 6.5 rebounds in this game. That's something I was thinking about, but I hadn't really given out a side on the show in a little while. It's a ton of games. But I kind of like DeJounte Murray over 6.5 rebounds. How's he been doing lately there?
Yeah. Last 5, 7 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 9 rebounds. Then a couple games in a row with 5. But he's been right at around that 6.5 board mark. It's I
think that's
he's averaging 7 on the month. So, and when we talk about defensive rebounding percentage, that's just not something that Houston does really well.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back on one thing. The Rockets 25th in offensive rating last 5 games. The Pelicans are 17th, so they're about 7-8 slots better offensively than the Rockets have been in their last 5 games. The other tab was looking at the bench. So Pelicans have had actually a better offensive rating in the last 10 games. In last 5 games, even though they're 1-4, than the Houston Rockets. Sometimes you watch their offense. If you can lock down in the half court, their offense can really struggle in the half court, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt. Houston's 11th in rebounding percentage. So they do clean it up a little bit when we're talking about DeJounte Murray cleaning up the glass. But yeah, last 10 games offensively, Houston Rockets are 108.1 on the offensive rating. Right at they're essentially they're 1.9 on the net rating. They're scoring just enough to get by. 6-4 in their last 10, 24th in offensive rating. That should be an interesting one. I mean, I'm interested to see how they bounce back coming from Vegas because they've been playing well, and if they take this game seriously. First game back, couple days off of rest. Let's see how they shake there. Hopefully the Pelicans can keep it tight. All right, J Money. I'm going to go to Boston, and I'm going to take the Bulls team total 112.5 minus 118. I'm shocked by the number. I think it's too low. I think this is a 115 plus 115 to 125 plus game for the Chicago Bulls. The spread is 15 in this side. I wouldn't be mad if you went in that direction as well, but I'm going to look at the team total just because this Chicago Bulls team, the Celtics might put up 150 on them. Like, it could be, they could cover 15, but I'm confident that the Chicago Bulls are going to be able to score points because they've been scoring points on damn near the entire league because that is the only focus in their game. That's what Billy Donovan wants them to do, and that's exactly what they've been doing. Keep an eye on Pelicans and the Rockets and Boston and the Bulls here on the injury report as we record this on Wednesday night, 11:20 p.m. No official NBA injury report has been submitted for any team. They all say not yet submitted. So keep an eye on that because Zach LaVine didn't play in the last game. He was a late scratch with a back. Some may think it's a trade. Some may think it's a back trade contusion. He got the trade disc back.
LaVine is playing here.
You think so?
LaVine's. Well, I saw that he's not on the injury report, so I don't think there's an official one. But if you follow the beat writers on Twitter, that's where I usually get all my info from. They say that LaVine's not on the injury report, but Josh Giddey, however, is on the injury report, and that's actually pretty huge for me in this game. Whether I like the Bulls or team total, anything, I need Giddey out there. But they do play fast, regardless. Like whoever's out there, they're playing fast. We've seen the Celtics not really play a ton of defense. Why? Because they don't necessarily need to. It's really that simple. They don't need to. But the Bulls play very fast. And even if they didn't have Giddey, they're still going to run and gun with the players that they have out there. But would definitely be nice to have Giddey for sure.
Yes, no doubt. They play the fastest, not just fast, the fastest. Yeah. But yes, Giddey, questionable. LaVine, questionable. Porzingis, questionable. Keep an eye out there as we're flying a little blind here on Wednesday night. But I do like this spot. I do like them to score points. Let me tell you why. The Celtics have flat out had trouble with teams that operate at a high pace. Celtics are 21-5 straight up this year. 10-16 ATS, by the way, which obviously, of course, they're going to be overvalued coming off the year they had last year. But that's just the proof in the pudding. 10-6 ATS, but dead even on the ATS plus minus, which I thought was interesting. So when they have been covering, they've been covering by wide margins to kind of make up that 6-game difference. But I don't like we talked about on the top. I don't care how many points they cover by as long as they cover. But I thought that was an interesting stat that I wanted to bring up. But here are all 5 losses. 21-5 Celtics. Pacers, 6th in pace. Warriors, 8th in pace. Hawks, 3rd in pace. Cavs, 9th in pace. Also just very damn good. So, I mean, that was always going to be a tight game. But Grizzlies, the other night, 2nd in pace. The Raptors, another team that the Celtics needed overtime at home to get a W in, 10th in pace. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls. They are number 1 in pace, and they have been since the start of the year. Another common theme, J Money, that gives the Celtics trouble is teams that move the rock around. Ball doesn't stick. We're not talking about a team like the Mavs or a team where they could kind of isolate, shut the water off, and then the team would have an issue. This Bulls team gets out, runs, and the ball flat out doesn't stick. It moves around. Warriors, Hawks, Grizzlies, Raptors, all top 7 in assist percentage. Bulls are currently 5th in the NBA in assist percentage. The ball doesn't stick. It moves around. Those teams run the floor. Since all these teams in the league had a couple days off of rest with the NBA Cup, that being in play, I wanted to see how the Celtics and the Bulls do coming off of multiple days of rest. No back-to-back, not one-day rest, but multiple days of rest. The Celtics are the worst in the NBA. 0-5 ATS with extra days of rest between two days and 3 days. What's interesting is they're 5-0 straight up. They just haven't covered any numbers. Bulls 3-1-1 ATS off 2 and 3 days rest. That could mean a multitude of things to me is that they go off, they relax a little bit. It takes them a little bit of time to get back in the flow of things. I don't see why that wouldn't be the case here, coming off an extended break. A team in the Bulls they don't really respect or think they'll have any trouble getting a W against. The number is 15. I like that angle, and I like that similarity as well as the pace angle. As I mentioned, keep an eye on the injury report for Levine, Porzingis, and Giddey. But 112.5 for a team that offensively, that's their only focus is get the ball. We don't even care if you knock it down. We're just going to get it out of the net as fast as possible and push it down the floor and try to get a good look ourselves. I think 112.5 is too low for a team that hasn't covered any numbers coming off of multiple days rest and has had trouble. I just laid out their 5 losses straight up, not ATS, straight up, are all against teams top 10 in pace that get up and down and share the basketball. That's the exact style the Chicago Bulls play. I'll take the Bulls team total over 112.5 minus 18 in the market as I see it right now. If you want to take the plus 15 or you want to wait and see what happens with Giddey and Levine, I'm not mad at that as well. But as I sit, I think the Bulls score 113 plus tomorrow. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't talk you off. Like I said, if I get Giddey in there, I'll ride with you on this. It's really that simple. But pace alone, and we've seen the Celtics just not really, just basically just try to go out there and outshoot people. I mean, they don't need to be playing championship style defense, risking injury right now. Like, I mean, they could lose a game or two here and there. Like, it doesn't matter. They're the best team in the NBA. They shoot a high volume of threes. They make them. You have Tatum, Brown, Derek White playing at championship level even now. So that's why the Celtics haven't really been covering numbers, because they don't need to lock down on the defensive end. It's a really nice look. If, like I said, if I get Giddey in there, I'll definitely be riding with you here.
Another thing, I believe they have trouble with the higher pace teams because it's like, okay, y'all want to play this game? We could do this. Y'all gonna
Yeah,
try to outrun us and outshoot us? Like, let's go, let's do it. I think
yeah,
they almost relish when the game gets like that. When they come in and have a game plan of like, hey, we're gonna have to slow Luka. We're gonna have to focus on one specific thing that this team does really well and shut the water off. They do that, but it's almost like they relish in the challenge of like, all right, y'all want to try to outscore us? Man, fuck it. We'll go out here and we'll put on a little firework display and let's see who ends up on top, because it's usually gonna be us.
yeah. Yeah, they
Full
scored
slate.
120. They scored 129 versus them November 29th as well.
Yeah. It was a very, very high scoring game. And I believe that game was in Chicago, but
Yep.
still a high scoring game. 112.5 seems awfully low for this matchup. So stay tuned on that. Tons of games coming off this NBA Cup. Damn near the whole league is in play, I believe. Another interesting matchup that we wanted to talk about was Knicks. We got my man Jay Money on Revenge Jay. We got to go to Minnesota and talk Knicks, Timberwolves. Julius Randle, first time he's seeing the Knicks since getting moved. And I'm close to the situation. Received a lot of hate the last couple years, deserved or not. There was
Deserved.
there was a lot of malicious comments coming his way and thoughts about how he plays ball. If you recall, at the end of the year, they pulled this picture off the wall in the walk to the entrance at Madison Square Garden. So there has to be, and he kept it professional. We'll put it like that. But I know he remembers all that stuff, and he feels like for all the things he did for the Knicks, couple All NBA teams, kind of was the linchpin when they were making the transition from being really bad to starting to put wins together. I think deep down he feels like he hasn't been respected for that. So Revenge Jay, his point prop 19.5 minus 118 to the over. Interesting game overall. Since Ant-Man called out his boys for being soft, they have picked it up on the defensive end. What I want to see from the Knicks is the next coming into the new year is just an identity being established. Hey, we're really good on offense. Is that how we're going to win games? Are we just going to try to outscore people? Or are we going to mix in a little D? Are we going to play? Or are we going to focus on D and then let that offensive talent do its thing? They are so up and down. I don't know what to expect from them on a night-to-night basis. We've talked about this before. I would love to see them stamp that identity and kind of lean on folks consistently in a specific way where they feel like they can get wins regardless of the matchup. Talk to me about this game, the revenge angle. Cat also playing his old team. DiVincenzo hasn't been getting as many minutes. We talked about that before we hopped on, but I know he feels like he got slighted by the Knicks. How you feel about this game overall? The number's 2.5.
Man, I can't really good. I cashed a really big ticket with the Knicks versus the Magic. This team scares me sometimes. I think that personally, I think they're like a top 5 team in the NBA. Like pushing top 3, like if they could really get things together. It's like you said, they don't know if they want to be really great offense. I think that they're one of the best defensive teams, even though Brunson and Cat aren't the best defenders. When you have Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, like you have 3 of the best defenders in the league, literally. So I feel like they need to dig in a little bit more. I think that needs to be their identity. They need to lean, because when you play great defense, that makes offense all the more better. You're getting steals, and so if you're getting easy baskets in transition, I think they need to go out there and play the best defense. It's way too inconsistent for me. Like I've literally seen the Knicks go out there and smack the Nuggets, and then go out there and get smoked by the Mavs. Like they beat the Nuggets by 27 points, and then they got literally railroaded by the Mavs. I'm telling you, it was never a game, man. So I can't really get a good grasp on the Knicks. I do think that they are the better overall team than the Timberwolves. But like you said, I mean, if I'm playing this game, I have to go with the revenge narrative. I mean, I'd look at Cat points specifically because this game is in Minnesota as well, and we know Randle can't wait to face this team, and he could possibly even like try to distribute the ball a bit more. Oh, okay, you guys don't think I can pass the ball? Watch this. I'm going to show you how I play with my new team. You see what I'm saying? So I think that Randle's assist could be something here, because that's just the way that they've gotten him playing. He doesn't want to be that selfish guy. He heard all the smoke. He doesn't want to be that guy that's ball hogging over there. I mean, he has Anthony Edwards. He has guys like Nas Reed, Rudy Gobert. They can Jay McDaniels. They can spread the love over there. So I think Randle would definitely be turned up for this game. But Cat, I mean, remember, he didn't want to be traded as well. He spent his whole career in Minnesota. I'm sure it's going to feel a little weird having to go to the visitors locker room in this game, but Cat's going to be turned up. He's going to get a tribute video, all that good stuff. Cat will be turned up here. It's still a bad matchup, if you will, for the Wolves as well. And then, like I say, Julius Randle points, assists, and then I think Cat's points as well would be some really good looks in this game. And DiVincenzo, even if he hasn't been playing well, we saw him get into it with Brunson's dad, stuff like that. He's going to want to play well in this game. This is a really big game. I can't wait to watch it. I probably won't have a single bet on this game, but I know if one team gets up by double digits, I'll be looking to live bet this game for sure. So keep an eye out for that. Like if the Wolves went up 10, I'd take the Knicks double digits. Same thing if the Knicks they got up double digits. I'd live bet the other team. I think this game is going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a dandy. But I will say this: I don't necessarily agree with Knicks being plus 2.5 if they play their best game.
Yeah, I was going to say. Minnesota the favorite here, minus 2.5. This is only the third time the Knicks have been an underdog this entire year. They're 1-1 ATS as an away underdog. Let's see where they're at. As an away dog, 1-1. So they've been an away dog. They haven't been an underdog at the Garden all year long. Overall, as an away team, the New York Knicks 6-8 ATS. So not profitable in that aspect. This is my favorite game on the slate as well. Not just because I covered the Knicks and I'm very close to them. I'm just excited to see the dynamics here and how a team that has played a lot better recently in the Timberwolves and the team in the Knicks that it's tough to know what it's tough to know how they're going to show up and what the edge. Like this game is going to be chippy. This game is going to have a lot of edge to it, and I'm excited to see how OG, Mikal, and those guys respond to that, because that's been the knock, is that the Knicks don't have that edge. They didn't have it the other night in the quarterfinal at the Garden when the Hawks beat them up in multiple spots. Last week at the Garden, the Hawks looked like last year's Knicks. That's how the Hawks looked. They looked like they had edge. They
Pacers.
were together. It was
I think the Hawks look like the Pacers from last year.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, they were getting up and down, but they were rebounding. They were talking. They just had an edge to them, and they were rebounding. So I'm excited for this.
Trey stole Halliburton's juice, bro. I'm telling you, man. Obviously, he likes playing, but they're watch out for the Hawks, man. I'll tell you that.
Nah, no doubt about it. So that's me and Jay's favorite game outside of our two plays that we're looking at watching. Stay tuned and see what shakes out there. We mentioned it off the top of the show that we're coming to you from our Tommy John home studios. The holidays are here. Christmas is less than a week away. If you procrastinated your holiday shopping, we've got you covered. There's still time to shoot your shot with Tommy John and be the GOAT, the greatest gifter of all time. But that shot clock is ticking. Go to TommyJohn.com/buckets right now for your last minute holiday gifts. Again, that shot clock is ticking, and we know everyone loves buzzer beaters. So get your 30% off just in time only at TommyJohn.com/buckets. That's 30% off at TommyJohn.com/buckets. Get your loved ones the gift of comfort with Tommy John. And since we're talking Tommy John, let's get into our Tommy John Ballsy parlay of the night. As we always say, J Money and I, not the proponents. We don't push the parlays. We're straight bettors, typically around the -110 number, but we put together a little three-legger for you. Bulls, +15. Pelicans, +10.5. Julius Randle with the revenge angle, -115 in the prop market. That three-leg pays out +587, just under 6-1. If you want to sub the Chicago Bulls +15 with the team total, my official play, do that. But that's the Tommy John big ballsy parlay. To recap, J Money is on the Pelicans +10.5, -110 in the market. I'm on the Bulls team total over 112.5, -118. For J Money is Money, I am your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to NBA Talk with Jay. Make sure you go download the Action Network app if you haven't already. Tell the homies to subscribe to the Buckets Pod. Tell that homie to send the link to another homie. Have them subscribe to the Buckets Pod. And you know how we do. Until next time, let's cash. Get buckets, baby.